Welcome to a very special episode of the Monday Morning Critic. Today we have a cinematographer and director. His name is Charles Perry. He is putting together a pretty amazing documentary. The documentary is called The Black Cowboy. Charles, it is my pleasure to have you on today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I heard a radio station mention a black rodeo, and I had to stop and I had to make a 100-mile detour to get to this place. It was a black rodeo where everybody's black, and it was probably one white guy in the audience. And I remember that seemed like me in reverse when I went to a rodeo in Montana. And right then and there, I made it a point where I'm going to come back and film this and document this because it wasn't really talked about when I Googled it and everything else. And even today, you will hear bits and stories of, black cowboys, but to see an all-black town with an all-black rodeo, and then the next day, those same people are still walking around in their hats and everything else. It's just a sight to see. You can teach film, but you can't teach will. Have that ingrained in you, you just don't stop.
Do you teach yourself the cinematography aspect, or is that something you're self-taught? Is that something you learn from others? Because that's, for people that don't know, that's a very difficult thing to do. You got to line up the shots, and in cinematography, in my opinion, Charles, I've seen a 10-minute clip, which I told you off the air, and I absolutely fell in love with this project. I've been in love with this project for a few months now, just the idea of it. Do you teach yourself the cinematography? Is it something that, because I think it really, in this type of documentary, the cinematography is pretty important because of the story you're telling.
I think one's person is always in their own mind. You don't know what the other person's thinking. And to me, looking back at things, it seems like it's just the way I think.
With any movie, dates change. Is that what we're looking at right now, Charles? The January 2019 release date?
Yes. It's a tight deadline to get there. What ended up happening is, self-funded by myself at first time feature film documentary filmmaker. It was hard for people to take me seriously, and I knew if I show them the work, who are better than what I can do, because at that point I was a one-man show. I was shooting, I was editing, I was calling people. And so what I learned is that, the things that are in the past are, in history, just not talked about, but they're still there, but to have that included into everyday life or into films and into books and to even the news or our stories, it just tells you that, America was built upon it took everybody, and even the people who are unseen, that's not thought about, that's what helped build this country.